Thank you, Jesus, for
The man who once led one of the largest congregations in America. Today, walking into an Oklahoma courthouse, pleading guilty to sexually abusing an underage girl.
This has taken my entire lifetime to get here.
That girl was Cindy Clemishire, now 55. Inside the courtroom, delivering a message to her abuser through tears, as Gateway Church founder Robert Morris admitted to 5 felony counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child in the 80s.
People need to know who he is, that he came into our home as a pedophile, disguised as a preacher.
The abuse began on Christmas night in 1982, Cindy says, when she was 12 and Morris 21. It continued for years. A secret Cindy kept until 1987, when she told her parents and church leaders, and for the first time last year, shared publicly.
He started by touching my breast and putting his hands in my pants.
Decades passed. Morris grew into an evangelical powerhouse, even serving on President Trump's Spiritual Advisory Council, at times alluding to past transgressions in his sermons.
Sexual temptation is an appetite of the flesh, and I developed an appetite before I was saved.
His sins that NBC News reported on last year, now officially crimes. Morris handed a 10-year sentence, though he will only serve 6 months in a county jail as part of the negotiated plea deal. He will also have to register as a sex offender and pay $250,000 in restitution.
There is hope to come out of shame and to be whole again. I'm just happy that it is over. I feel good about it. It's behind us. What does this feel like? I don't know that I have words for that yet.
So I want to thank Pastors Robert Morris and Steve Dullen. They're great people. Great people with a great reputation, I have to say that. Great reputation.
Honestly speaking, I don't really like talking about pastors. I'm kind of religious. So, but I know there's some bad pastors out there. I know there's some really bad people out there. Maybe some shitty ones. But I also believe there are some good pastors out there that just, pray for you and stuff like that. I think the only problem I got with this whole situation with this pastor, I think he only got 6 months, which that's kind of like a privilege. If I'm going to be honest with you, that's a big privilege, because there's some people out there that only did like a theft or whatever. Some people just stole something in the supermarket and they're currently in jail right now for like 20 years or something. There are people out there that didn't even do that much crime. Maybe some speed ticket or whatever, and they're still in jail, for little things. But this man got away because he's a well-known pastor. That's a benefit of being popular. That's a benefit of knowing Trump, like I said, some religious people, some pastors are just like that. They might have a shitty past, and the shitty past might catch up later. Because when I went to check this man's, preaching and whatever, and what he talks about the most, he seemed to be like, remorseful for what he did in his past, because he preached a lot about lust and flesh and whatever, and sexual sins and all these things. But the only thing I don't understand is he should have tried to get back to this woman, this woman that accused him after 40 years or whatever. I don't know, there's something about that woman, but I hope she's right about what she's saying, because so many false allegations recently. We never know what's right and what's bad. I'm not saying she's lying or whatever, but there's been a lot of false allegations. And if he plead guilty about it, guess he did it, But my only issue about it is he got a very minimal jail time, just like 6 months basically. It's like a slap on the wrist basically. And also, I just don't understand, like, maybe you forgot, like, you should have just gotten back to the woman, apologize, I don't know, give her some money, I don't know, maybe change your life, apologize, do something, I don't know. Or maybe you forgot, I don't know, maybe you even reached out, I don't know, it's not part of the story. But this is a little bit, sad in a way, because, it's a little sad because as a Christian myself, when you see a lot of things about pastors like this and this pastor did this and that pastor did that, it makes a lot of unbeliever rejoice basically because they're like, yeah, we told you this is shit, this is fake, stuff like that. I hope, I know we all got sins. I know we have got something we've done before. Maybe not this bad, but like I said, 6 months is very little for raping somebody. And, I think he's also into politics, which I don't understand why a lot of pastors do that. Mixing politics and, church and all these things together. I don't get it. Because I saw a video of him sitting alongside Trump and all these things. And the political thing, I don't understand that part. I've always advocated for like churches and politics to be two different things. I like the church don't need government money or political money and all this shit. The church should just be the church. I've always advocated something like that. But in the modern church, it's always like mixed politics and church and everything. I'm not in support of that. I think that's just doing too much. I think the church should be the church. If the governor wants to help the church, fine. But I don't like seeing church and politics together. They are two different things. But anyway, at the end of the day, I saw a lot of people on Twitter that complaining the sentence was too low because it's a rape charge or whatever. But we all know once you know Trump, come on. That's the president of the United States. You're not going to jail for a long time if you know people. Getting a huge sentencing. If you don't know people, if you're a black person, you don't know nobody or you're not connected to nobody, yes, you're going to get 20 years for stealing something in Tesco. But if you know people, you ain't going to go to jail for that long. That it's just what life is all about. That's just the situation of life. That's, you have that benefit of having connections and knowing all these politicians and Trump and the president and all this thing. That's just a connection. But anyway, guys, let me know what y'all think about this man. Do you think he should be forgiven, for what he did? Because, he seemed remorseful and shit. Or do you think his sentencing should be much longer than that? Let me know what y'all think about it in the comment section, man. Please like and subscribe, man. I'm out of here.